So congratulations on the new job.
Thank you so much, Carolyn. Thank you.
Well, one of the headlines to come out of the convention this weekend is the ultimatum to the Liberals over universal pharmacare, that the NDP will walk away from the supply and confidence agreement if there's no movement on pharmacare, and that, of course, would trigger an election. I'm just wondering, what is your sense of how members generally feel about this supply and confidence agreement with the Liberals?
Well, I mean, I've been knocking on doors here in St. John's East as well in anticipation of the next election. And I heard the candidates from all over the country who stood up. And obviously, there is a lot of people who said we need to go a bit further, we need to go faster. I think New Democrats are always expecting more and more. By and large, the tone of the convention was, we understand that this has to happen. We absolutely know that the things that we've been able to get for people right across this country may not have happened if this confidence and supply agreement wasn't agreed to. And so there was a good discussion. Jagmeet did a very good conversation with the delegates about explaining why that's so important. There was a resolution that came to the floor that was debated and passed by an overwhelming majority of the delegates that said that they expect nothing less than universal, single-payer, publicly funded, publicly delivered pharmacare. That message was very clear.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, if that legislation doesn't go through, there is the potential to trigger an election. And of course, being head of the executive now, party finances are now part of your responsibility. So how ready is the NDP to head into an election?
Well, the treasurer of the party gave a report on the first day of convention to say that the debt from the last election is just about done. And I know there's been a lot of fundraising that happens. Of course, it's happening with all political parties. There have been a lot of candidates nominated early this time. A lot of them were at convention. A lot of them were highlighted through the debate. And those candidates have been already knocking on doors. I don't think anyone expects an election right away or even wants an election right away. But in the event of the election is set now for 2025, but for sure this party is going to be ready for that. And that resonated loudly and clearly as well.
I'm wondering, now that you're president of the NDP, does that mean that you won't run again in the next federal election?
Oh, no, absolutely not. My intention is to run. In fact, I have been officially nominated by the Riding Association as the NDP candidate, and I'll be well versed on the issues. And I think through my experience, both in the labor movement, but also as a prior candidate and listening, the one who's now knocking on doors and listening to people in St. John's East, I also think I have a lot to offer. And I believe that will strengthen my ability to communicate with the people in the riding and to understand and listen very clearly to what their issues are.
When I heard that you landed this job, I couldn't help but think that former labor leaders from this province are having a little bit of a moment on the national stage, landing some pretty big jobs. Like, I'm thinking of Lana Payne, president of Unifor, and now you're president of the federal NDP. I'm just wondering, is there anything to that, or what are your thoughts on that?
We see, Lana as president of the Federation. I was thinking of Nancy Rich a lot this weekend, and Nancy was president of the party as well. In fact, Mary Shortall hails from Newfoundland. So I think part of it is what we do in this province. We shine. There's a lot of our brother trade unionists who've made it to the national stage as well. But it's also, I think, the commitment, you hear Lana speak often about, changing the world, one step at a time. And that, a quote of hers that I use all the time, with her permission, is that there's joy in the struggle. And it's heart-wrenching when you hear some of the stories, with members within the labor movement, but even outside the labor movement, there's a lot of people who don't have that voice for them. And I heard it last time on the doorsteps, and it's heart-wrenching